November 14th CDC meeting. If I could ask everyone to take their seats so we can call the meeting to order and begin. Yeah, Tech, are you ready? Great, thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to the November 14th regular meeting of the Community Development Commission of Chicago. I am Gwendolyn Hatton Butler, Chairwoman of the CDC. Today's meeting is being held at City Hall Council Chambers and is also being streamed by the Department of Planning and Development. The agenda for today's meeting was posted on November 9th, both on the CDC website and physically at City Hall. I will now call to order the November 14th meeting of the Community Development Commission with a call of the roll. Commissioners, when your name is called, please respond by saying present. Please note this vote will be used to establish the roll call vote for subsequent items. Vice Chair Wheat. Here. Secretary Chan McKibben. Commissioner Buford. Commissioner Curtis.
Here.
Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Gomez. Commissioner Griggs. Commissioner Thomas. We have a quorum. Thank you, Commissioners. The first item on our agenda requests approval of the minutes from our previous meeting held on October 10th. The Commissioners have had an opportunity to review the minutes, and if there are no corrections, I move passage of this item by the same roll call vote previously used to establish quorum. Are there any objections or changes to the minutes? Hearing no objections, the motion is approved. Commissioners, moving on to our first item of new business, the Department of Housing is seeking authority to sell property located at 4531 through 33 West Washington Boulevard in the Madison-Austin Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project area to United for Better Living, NFP, or a related entity, to negotiate a redevelopment agreement with United for Better Living, Incorporated, NFP, or a related entity for the redevelopment of the property located at 4531 through 33 West Washington Boulevard in the Madison-Austin Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project area, and to recommend to the Chicago City Council the designation of Care Manor 1 LP and United for Better Living Incorporated NFP or a related entity as developer. Michelle Pinar and Katrina Collins will provide a brief description on behalf of the Department of Housing.
Good morning, or good afternoon, Chairwoman Butler and members of the Community Development Commission. For the record, my name is Michelle Pinar, Financial Planning Analyst in the Department of Housing Development Finance Division. With me is Katrina Collins, also a Financial Planning Analyst, working together on this project. Also joining are members of the development team, Bishop David Whitley from United for Better Living, and Greg Miller, the attorney and consultant from Miller Ferguson Law and 16 Investment Group. And I believe Alderman Irvin is here, but not present right now in another committee meeting. We are going to present to you today a request for support for the Care Manor development located in the 28th Ward in the West Garfield Park neighborhood. DOH is seeking approval for the sale of 2 city-owned lots located at 4531 and 4533 West Washington Boulevard, which would enable the development of a 44-unit multifamily residential building. The developer is requesting a write-down of the price of the 2 city-owned lots to $1 each, which would enable the project to move forward. In addition to the city-owned lot, the development seeks $10 million in financial support from the Madison-Austin TIF district and the designation of the Care Manor 1 LP and United for Better Living, Inc., NFP, and its affiliates or a related party as the developer. Here's Katrina.
Oh, there we go.
For the record, my name is Katrina Collins. Care Manor will be located on Washington Boulevard and Kenton Avenue. The proposed structure is 4 stories and has a total of 44 units. The building has been designed to keep with the existing feel of the older buildings in the neighborhood. Unit amenities will include a community room with a kitchen, management office, and on-site laundry. The project will have on-site parking spaces and street parking in front. The 2 lots in the red are the city-owned lots and were appraised at $35,000, and the 5 lots in the yellow are the developer-owned lots. Okay, the projects are generally bound by West Washington Boulevard on the north, North Kilbourne Avenue on the east, West Madison Street on the south, and North Kenton Avenue on the west. Care Manor is a ministry of Corinthian Temple Church of God in Christ. The church's vision is to develop quality, affordable housing for the West Garfield Park community. This vision addresses the city of Chicago's plan to combat the shortage of affordable rental housing on the west side. The property consists of, like as mentioned before, the 5 developer-owned lots and the 2 city-owned lots, and will sit directly across the street from the church's community center. The development is within walking distance of the Madison corridor, which provides restaurants and retail stores, schools, religious institutions, and a library. Care Manor will bring affordable housing to a neighborhood that struggles with the fallout of systemic racism. According to Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, CMAP, approximately 70% of the West Garfield Park community earns less than $50,000 annually, which demonstrates the need for affordable housing in this community. Next slide. Thank you. The project conforms to the goals and objectives of the Madison-Austin TIF by creating new residential building on a vacant land that creates 100% affordable housing units. The development will help reduce vacant and underutilized properties with the use of the 2 city-owned land vacant lots. It is estimated that this development will create 20 temporary construction jobs and 1.5 permanent jobs after the construction is complete. Next slide. The developer has had multiple community meetings regarding the development of Care Manor. The developer shared the goal is to be active and intentional in keeping the community informed and included in the progress of Care Manor. Their goal is to continue the engagement until loan closing and construction begins. The developer is present and can share community engagement activities if needed. Next slide. This is the final rendering for the development. Next slide. The top image is a street view from Washington. The bottom image is the back of the building, which is a view from the parking lot. Next slide. The aerial view, including the parking lot and play area, along with the landscaping plans. Next slide. Care Manor will be located in a neighborhood of mixed residential homes, industrial and commercial uses. The location is in a low to moderate income neighborhood of Chicago that is in need of new investment. The addition of new high-quality apartments will continue to set the tone for ongoing developments in the area. And I will pass it back to Michelle. Next slide.
Yep. This table provides a detailed description of the proposed project. The subject property will provide a total of 44 rental units, of which 100% will be affordable for the households earning no more than 60% of the area median income. These units will satisfy the Chicago Affordable Housing Ordinance, which requires 10% affordable units in projects developed on city-owned, on land sold by the city, and 20% of affordable units in projects receiving TIF. There will be 3 one-bedroom, 32 bedroom, and 11 3-bedroom units, which is a majority family-sized units. Of the 44 units, there will be 1 one-bedroom rented at the 30% AMI and 1 2-bedroom rented at the 15% AMI, in which applicants will receive the subsidy through Chicago Low Income Housing Trust Fund. Next slide. The development team. This is the org chart provided by the developer, a limited partnership between National Equity Fund with 99.99% of the partnership and Care Manor with Care Manor Inc. at 0.01%. Next slide. The development team. The general contractor, GMA, is a minority and veteran-owned general contracting, construction management, and small business headquartered in Chicago. The property manager is 5T Management, which is also a local BIPOC-led property management company with experience that encompasses managing market rate, low income, and projects and multiple different funding sources and rental units within Chicago's south and west sides. The architect is Triad Consortium, which is also a BIPOC-led local architecture firm. It has worked on several new construction and rehab projects with DOH for affordable units or affordable developments. The consultant is 1600 Investment Group, which also is a BIPOC-owned local consulting and development firm, specializing in providing guidance and counsel to faith-based nonprofit organizations seeking to develop affordable housing. The attorney is Miller Ferguson and is another local BIPOC law firm with over 24 years of attorney experience. The developers, the mission of United for Better Living, also UBL, is to make a positive impact for all of West Garfield residents who are facing economic, educational, social, and safety barriers within their daily lives. Their vision is to be a leading organization that strengthens and empowers individuals and families living in West Garfield and its surrounding communities. UBL is a not-for-profit community development company which focuses on community development projects in the West Garfield Park area of Chicago, located across the street from the proposed development. UBL has been operating as a nonprofit since 1983, serving their community for over 30 years. UBL has developed and currently operates a community center that provides a multitude of service-oriented activities and a vacant Chicago public school that was repurposed and is now home to a charter school. Care Manor LP is a limited partnership with Care Manor Inc. and NEF and United for Better Living Inc. NFP and its affiliates, and Care Manor 1 LP are the developers. Next slide. Financing. In addition to the 2 lots and the $10 million in TIF funding, the development will be financed with equity from tax-exempt bonds. DOH will provide multiple multifamily loan funds in the amount of $4.2 million. And the development team will contribute $240,000 in the deferred developer fees. Uses of funds include $134,500 for acquisition of privately owned lots, $18.9 million in construction cost, $938,000 in contingency. And finally, the development work will accrue $5.4 million in soft costs for a total development cost of $25.4 million. Next slide. Here's our timeline. So November is CDC. December, we plan on going to the Plan Commission. January, we'll be introing for full finance for City Council. February 2024 is council passage, hoping for an estimated March closing. April 2024, start of the construction, and then August 2025, estimated construction complete. Next slide. And then our request, we are requesting support for the disposition of the 2 city-owned vacant lots at 4531 and 4533 West Washington Boulevard, support for the allocation of $10 million in TIF funds, and the request to designate Care Manor 1 LP and United for Better Living Inc. NFP and its affiliates as the developer. Questions, comments?
Thank you, Michelle and Katrina. I would now like to recognize Alderman Irvin and ask him to make a statement on the project if he chooses.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And again, as I stated earlier, when we did bond inducement on this project, this development in West Garfield is the first affordable development is broken ground probably in the last at least 30 to 40 years. And this is something that is needed in this particular area. As I said previously, this is and was and won't be an area they're frequented by prostitutes and other ne'er-do-wells of life. But I think this is going to be a beacon of hope right in West Garfield Park that is necessary and needed for the revitalization of the community, and look forward for a positive recommendation from the commission.
Thank you, Alderman Irvin. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. No written statements from the public were submitted on this matter, so we can now move to questions from the commissioners. Commissioners Michelle Pinar and Katrina Collins are here with Bishop Whitley from United for Better Living and Care Manor, Inc., and Greg Miller from Miller Ferguson to help answer any questions you might have on this project. Commissioners, do you have questions? Commissioner Thomas.
Which entity will be paying the real estate taxes?
That's a good question. Tamara Collins, my boss, deputy is here.
Which entity will be paying the real estate taxes?
So this is a for-profit
I'm
entity?
sorry, could you please
I'm
introduce
sorry,
yourself?
Tamara
for purposes of the-
Collins,
record.
Deputy Commissioner for the Department of Housing. This will ultimately be a for-profit entity, is that correct? That will be paying property taxes.
Which entity is that?
Is that the UDO? What? The Limited Partnership Care Manor LP?
Thank you.
Commissioner Thomas, any further questions?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Secretary Chan McKibben.
So my question is, in the documents, it says that Care Manor is a ministry of Corinthian Temple Church of God in Christ. So what is the relationship between the project and the church? And will the church be providing any social services or anything to the residents?
Bishop Whitley?
Good afternoon. My name is David Todd Whitley, and I certainly ask for your forgiveness because this is quite emotional to know that we've come this far with this project. My grandfather founded our church 50 some odd years ago. And he went home to be with the Lord, and I've been serving as the senior pastor for the last 19. And he encouraged us to be a church without walls. And so this project, which we've been working on for approximately 3 to 4 years, is a labor of love and a statement of our faith in an opportunity to better our community. And so Care Manor is a byproduct of a vision that we have to be a modern day Nehemiah, to rebuild the walls of our community. We are already providing social services to the West Garfield Park community, serving thousands of individuals on a weekly basis with food. We provide after-school care for hundreds of kids who are students in the CPS school system. We provide adult literacy training to adults who need a second chance at achieving a goal of graduating from school. We have computer classes. We do health and wellness services. And so the goal was to provide wraparound services for the residents who will be living in Care Manor. And so if you really want to know what an organization or individual will do, check out what they've already done. And we already are providing social services, and we look ready and look forward to providing the same for those who will be living in Care Manor. And we've been doing this, again, for the past 30 plus years.
Whitley. Secretary Chan McKibben, any additional questions?
No additional questions.
Okay, Commissioner Curtis.
Yes, thank you. Kind of following up on the tax revenue, do we have any idea as to the amount of tax revenue we expect this project to generate?
Tax revenue. No, we don't, I don't have.
No,
that.
the amount of equity, Michelle.
Oh, the amount of equity. I'm
Yes.
sorry. Thank you. We do have that information.
And for clarity, this is a tax exempt bond deal.
Sorry,
Sorry,
I
Tamara.
have to ask you
Tamara
to, every
Collins.
time you speak, to please.
I
yeah, okay,
understand.
thank you.
Apologies. Tamara Collins, Deputy Commissioner for the Department of Housing. For clarity, this is a 4% tax credit deal versus the 9% where the city actually allocates the credits for this. So this will generate a different amount of equity for the project, and that should be shown up at the top of $7.8 million.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understood that. The tax, do we know that that's the amount of real estate tax revenue that we expect to be generated by the project?
Oh, the real estate tax. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said the tax credit equity. We don't know.
No,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Do do we know the cost per square foot of the project?
It's approximately, total development cost per square foot is $393.47.
Okay, so when I take the per unit cost into the 25 million,
Mhm.
I get about $578,000 per unit.
Yep.
Am I doing that correctly? Okay. Is there a storefront that will be generating revenue in this project?
No commercial space in the
No
building.
commercial space at all. Okay. And I'm sorry, the number of square feet that that the project will have?
That is, we had it in there, we removed it.
64,600.
I'm sorry, could you please,
Sorry,
for
yes.
purposes of the
Uh,
public record?
For the record, Katrina Collins, the square footage of this project is 64,664 square feet.
Thank you. That's all.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Curtis. Are there other questions from members of the commission? And for purposes, for the record, I'd like to acknowledge that Secretary Chan McKibben and Commissioner Griggs are present. Thank you so much. If there are no further questions from members of the commission, I would now like to invite members of the public who are in attendance and interested to speak on this item. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak? If there are no further questions or comments regarding the matter before us, I will call the item to a vote. The resolution before us, the Department of Housing is seeking authority to sell property located at 4531 and 4533 West Washington Boulevard in the Madison Austin Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project Area to United for Better Living, Inc., NFP, or related entity, to negotiate a redevelopment agreement with United for Better Living, Inc., NFP, or related entity for the redevelopment of the property located at 4531, 4533 West Washington Boulevard in the Madison Austin Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project Area, and to recommend to the Chicago City Council the designation of Care Manor One LP and United for Better Living, Inc., NFP, or related entity as developer. If there are no objections by members of the commission or abstentions, I move passage of this item by the same roll call vote previously used to establish quorum. Are there any abstentions or?
Madam Chair, I think it's a great project. I'm certainly in favor of it. I'm uncomfortable approving the project without some idea as to the amount of the real estate taxes that are going to be generated for the TIF district. So with that in mind, I will vote against it.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Curtis. We have you down as a no. Hearing no additional objections, the motion is approved.
Thank you.
Commissioners, for the next item of business, the Department of Housing is seeking authority to negotiate a redevelopment agreement with Ogden Commons JV LLC for redevelopment of the property located at 1312 South Tallman Avenue in the Midwest Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project Area, and to recommend to the City Council of the City of Chicago the designation of Ogden Commons JV LLC as developer. Cheshu Sen will provide a brief description of this change on behalf of the Department of Housing.
Good afternoon, Chair Butler and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Yi Xiaoshen, Financial Planning Analyst from Department of Housing. I'm presenting Ogden, Washington A2 residential project for TIF developer designation. Together with me today from the developer team, Jeff Head, the Vice President of Community Development, and Lillian Yong, the Senior Development Manager from the Habitat Company. Next, please. The proposed project is located at 1312 South Tillman Avenue, Midwest TIF District. The project is supported by the Alderman of 28th Ward, Jason Irvin. Next, please. Ogden Washtenaw A2 Residential is part of the larger Ogden Commons redevelopment master plan, which will include a mix of townhomes, flats, multi-story family buildings, and retail office buildings in the Lawndale neighborhood. The area highlighted in yellow is the second phase of the residential portion of the plan, which will create over 300 new units of mixed income housing. The phase A1 next to the project site is currently under construction. Next, please. The development is a proposed new construction of 75-unit mixed income building. The development will share landscaped outdoor areas with a patio area, a children's play area, and walkways throughout the entire project area with phase A1. Interior project amenities of phase A2 will include a welcome lobby, a computer room, and a fitness center. Next, please. The proposed site is around 1 acre. The land is owned by Chicago Housing Authority. CHA strongly supports the project, including financial assistance and entering into a 75-year ground lease at initial financial closing for the parcel associated with the development for $1 per year. Next, please. And this is the organizational chart. The single-purpose entity, Ogden Washtenaw A2 Residential LP, will be the owner. The developer team and general partner is a joint venture among the Habitat Company, Mount Sinai Hospital, and the Lawndale Real Estate. And the Habitat Ogden Commons will also be the limited partner. The Habitat Company has sponsored recent affordable housing projects in the city, like 43 Green. Additionally, from 1987 to 2010, Habitat serves as the court-appointed receiver for new family housing for the Chicago Housing Authority. In its capacity, Habitat also collaborated with Chicago Housing Authority on all new family development activities. Next, please. The unit mix will consist of 57 units for residents with incomes at or below 60% of the area median income and 18 market rate units. Of the total units, 30 will receive rental assistance from the Rental Assistance Demonstration RAD program. Additionally, 6 of these units will be dedicated to the statewide referral network SRN program, whose income will be further restricted to not to exceed 30% of the AMI. Next. The request to the City of Chicago for financial assistance is up to $9 million in TIF grant, or 23% of the total development cost from the Midwest TIF district. It would complete the capital stack and enable the project to move forward with development and construction. Other sources of financing, including a conventional first mortgage and a construction bridge loan from the private sector, general partner equity, and a deferred developer fee, a $10 million capital loan from Chicago Housing Authority. The ground lease with CHA will generate approximately $500,000 of state tax credits for sale to private taxpayer. The project will also be financed with 2021 reservation of 9% low-income housing tax credits from Illinois Housing Development Authority to generate for the uses, 74% of the total cost will be attributed to the hard cost, 3% to contingency, and the rest 23%.
Thank you, Ishao. I would again like to recognize Alderman Irvin and invite him to make a statement on the project if he chooses.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, this is the Ogden Commons LP project. This is a former CHA development that we've continued to move forward on. Finished the commercial portion of it about year and a half ago. That's up and moving between Mount Sinai, new restaurant, Momentum Coffee Shop, and bank in the area. This is continuing on the residential component of this project. Again, being a former CHA site, the goal is to put more residential housing back into the community, while at the same time providing additional amenities and resources for everyone as well. This area is roughly bounded by two of the largest employers on the west side and possibly in the city, one being Mount Sinai Hospital and the other being CenterSpace Film Studios, that provide the backdrop not only for workforce housing, but for affordable housing in the area. This is beneficial for the residents primarily in the eastern portion of the North Lawndale community that I share with Alderman Monique Scott of the 24th Ward, and I'm looking for a favorable recommendation from the commission.
Thank you, Alderman Irvin. No written statements from the public were submitted on this matter. We can now move to questions. Commissioners, Ishao Shin is here with Lillian Yule and Jeff Head from the Habitat Company to help answer any questions that you may have on this project. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Commissioner Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just want to confirm that you said the Ogden Washtenaw A2 Residential LP will be the ultimate owner.
Would you go back to the organizational chart? Yes. Of the Washtenaw A2 Residential LP.
And that is a for-profit entity
Yes, for
that
profit.
will pay real estate taxes?
Yes. Yes.
Yes?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Are there other questions for members of the commission? Vice Chair Wheat.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A question for staff. Some of the units are the 30% AMI units, I believe, are designated for homeless individuals. Are there vouchers either from CHA, low-income housing, from the trust fund or other places that are designated for those units?
I'm sorry, could you please, for purposes of the public record, introduce yourself? And can we have our mic turned on?
Certainly. Can you hear me now? Okay, my name is Lillian Yule and I represent the Habitat Company. Out of the 12 SRN units, 6 units will be supported from CHA Rental Assistance Program, and the other 6 units will be supported from Chicago Low Income Housing Tax Credit Rental Assistance Program. Thank you.
Vice Chair Wheat, additional questions?
No additional questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Are there other questions from members of the commission?
Sure.
Commissioner Curtis, please.
Can you tell us the number of square feet of the project?
To go back. So it's around 43,000 square footage.
Okay, so when I go through the number of units and the number of square feet in the chart, I get 51,000, and I assume that there's more in the commercial space or some of the other space that might be listed. Am I incorrect?
This is Lillian again. I can help respond to that question. So the slide that we're seeing here represents the total square footage of the site. The total square footage of the residential itself is approximately 68,000 square feet.
I'm sorry, how many?
68.
Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Curtis, additional questions?
Not yet, thank you.
Right. Are there additional questions from members of the commission? Yeah. Commissioner Davis.
Just a point of clarification for myself. What, if any, connection does Mount Sinai Health System have to this project?
Jeff Head, Vice President for Affordable Development with the Habitat Company. This project's a joint venture that includes Mount Sinai Hospital as one of the development partners.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Any additional questions from members of the commission? If there are no further questions from members of the commission, I would now like to invite members of the public who are in attendance and interested to speak on this item. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Are there any members of the public that would like to comment on this item? If there are no further questions or comments regarding the matter before us, I will call this item to a vote. The resolution before us, the Department of Housing is seeking authority to negotiate a redevelopment agreement with Ogden Commons JV LLC for the redevelopment of the property located at 1312 South Tallman Avenue in the Midwest Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project Area, and to recommend to the City Council of the City of Chicago the designation of Ogden Commons JV LLC as developer. If there are no objections, I move passage of this item by the same roll call vote previously used to establish quorum. Are there any objections or abstentions?
System, I'm going to abstain for the good of the order.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Let the record reflect that Commissioner Davis is abstaining from voting on this item. Hearing no further changes, the motion is approved.
Thank you.
Commissioners, for the next item of business, the Department of Housing is seeking authority to advertise its intention to enter into a city lots for working families land sale and redevelopment agreement with Home and Housing LLC for the disposition of the property located at 3517 West Flournoy Street, 3431 West Flournoy Street, 3433 West Flournoy Street, 3303 West Flournoy Street, and 3553 West Lexington Street in the Midwest TIF to request alternative proposals and to approve the sale of the property to Home and Housing LLC if no responsive alternative proposals are received. Whitney Mungan will provide a brief description on behalf of the Department of Housing.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman Butler and commission members. For the record, my name is Whitney Mungan, representing the Home Ownership Bureau of the Department of Housing. Also present today are Eden Hurd Smith with IFF, Vice President of Community Development Solutions, Smith Vasan, IFF Project Manager, Caitlin Hartnett, IFF Development Associate, and Tim Swanson, General Contractor, Founder and Managing Member of Inherent Homes. 24th Ward Alderwoman Monique Scott is also present today, should you wish to hear from her. Next slide. Today, we request your approval to sell 5 parcels of land in the Midwest Redevelopment Project Area to Home and Housing LLC under the City Lots for Working Families program, established by an ordinance approved by City Council in November 2017. The program allows the Department of Housing to sell lots to developers for $1 per buildable lot, to construct for sale housing, which is within the economic reach of working families. 25% of the homes can be sold with no sales price cap or buyer income restrictions. Some permit fees are also reduced or waived under the program. The total value of the 5 lots under consideration today is approximately $68,000. This commission was recently briefed on the Building Neighborhoods and Affordable Homes, or BANA program. Earlier this year, City Council approved a revision to the BANA program, which made this home buyer grant program available citywide, which increased the maximum grant amount to $100,000 for qualified home buyers. Recipients must occupy the home as their primary residence for a period of 10 years. Buyers of these 5 homes will be eligible for a BANA grant. Next slide. As you can see, the lots under consideration shown here outlined in red are in a compact area just south of the Eisenhower Expressway in East Garfield Park. Next slide. The developer also purchased land from the Cook County Land Bank and will build homes on those parcels as well. The greater development effort is under the Reclaiming Chicago banner to build 1,000 new homes on the west and south sides of Chicago. Home and Housing LLC is an entity created for this development by the Illinois Facility Fund, IFF. Next slide. The proposed development is in the Midwest Redevelopment Project area shown here. The lots are located within the red circle. The proposed project will meet the goals of the Midwest Redevelopment Project area, which are to create an improved quality of life in the community, to increase the real estate tax base, and to attract new residential development. The proposed project also conforms to the plan's land use map, which calls for residential development at the subject sites. The proposed development is also within the East Garfield Park community area on Chicago's west side. East Garfield Park has a population of just under 20,000 people, down about 70% from its peak in 1960, but essentially unchanged since 2000. It has a housing mix that includes 809 single-family detached homes, plus 438 attached homes, and over 2,200 two-unit homes. 44% of all housing stock was built before 1940, while over 13% have been built in the last 20 years. In 2021, the median household income in East Garfield Park was $25,692. The city's data portal indicates that 44 building permits have been issued for the construction of either a single-family home, townhome, or two-flat in East Garfield Park since 2016. Of these homes, 24 that were issued were for modular construction. The city still owns 177 parcels with RS or RT zoning in East Garfield Park, which does not include lots still owned but assigned to a forthcoming development or other land sale. Slide next up. The public benefits of this proposed development include new for-sale housing for working families and returning long vacant tax-exempt properties to the tax roll. Next slide. Here are the sources and uses for the development, which can also be found in your staff report. It is essentially a break-even development, but there's a $15,000 per home contingency line in the development budget. Another reminder about the City Lots program, the department does not set the sales price, it establishes a maximum sales price. A developer must meet the market, or in some areas, establish a market. The market in East Garfield Park shows that the average sales price for a single-family housing in East Garfield Park for the 12 months ending September 31st, 2023 was just over $258,000, an increase at an annual rate of 5.5% per year since August 2016. The median sale price for single-family housing for the 12 months ending September 31st, 2023 was $242,500. Adjusting for inflation, the median price in East Garfield Park has increased at an annual rate of 3.9% per year since August 2016. Next slide. Now on to the homes. The homes are 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a typical living room on the first floor and with a family room on the second floor. One of the bedrooms is on the first floor in the rear. The homes are about 1,450 square feet. All homes will be delivered by Inherent L3C to the developer as part of the Reclaiming Initiative for Home and Square and are designed to reflect and respect the existing fabric of the neighborhood. Next slide. Each elevation is designed to align with and build upon its immediate neighbors with a predominantly masonry front facade, bright and airy windows with cementitious fiberboard and wood accents, fronted and wrapped by a steel porch. Next slide. The Foundation for Home and Square and IFF, in collaboration with the design studio of Inherent L3C, will select facade options from the range of typologies vetted by the Department of Housing, as well as Department of Planning and Development. Next slide. Contextual options will be presented to home buyers to provide final selection. These award-winning homes have been designed to conform to DOH design guidelines and have been developed in partnership with community stakeholders and focus groups. Next slide. The factory space where these homes will be built is in a building owned by the Will Group at 4647 West Polk in the 24th Ward, about 2 miles from this proposed development. Next slide. A thin masonry veneer system will be applied once the homes are set on the foundations. Some homes will be a combination of the masonry along with hardy board or similar product. An attractive front porch is included. Next slide. These images are of the first floor. Next slide. These images are of the kitchen, bedroom, and bathrooms. Next slide. And finally, some additional interior and exterior renderings. Next slide. The land sale was approved by the Chicago Plan Commission in October. If approved today, a city lots land sale authorizing ordinance will be introduced at City Council in December. Next slide. The Department of Housing has thoroughly reviewed the proposed project, the qualifications of the development team, the financial structure of the project, the need for public assistance, its public benefits, and the project's conformance with the redevelopment area plans, and DOH recommends that this body approve the sale of the designated parcels to Home and Housing LLC or to a related entity for the development of these homes under the City Lots for Working Families program. This concludes the formal presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Whitney. If Alderwoman Scott is in attendance, I would like to recognize her and invite her to make a statement on the project if she chooses.
Thank you. Hello. Hi, so I am very excited about this project. I think that it does a full circle of our community. The houses are being made in North Lawndale. The people that work at that facility are North Lawndale residents. It's probably about 60% women that are building these homes. I am truly excited, and it just goes to the work that Home and Square continues to do in that community. They typically just build within the Home and Square area, and they're building homes that that mirrors the home, and also trying to make it affordable so that we can bring back the residents. We're probably, like she said, 70% less the people that we've had back in 1968. So this is a way to continue to grow our community and to build equity in our community and to bring, like I said, residents back into our community. So this is a project that I truly support, and we need 3,000 more of these projects because Lawndale sits on 3,000 vacant lots.
Thank you so much, Alderwoman Scott, for taking time out from your very busy schedule to join us this afternoon. It's much appreciated. No written statements from the public were submitted on this matter. We can now move to questions. Commissioners, Whitney Mungin is here with Eden Hurd-Smith and Kaiten Harnett from IFF to help answer any questions that you may have on this project. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Yes. Commissioner Gomez.
They're being built on site, or?
They are modular. They'll be built in the factory and then delivered to the site and installed on the slab.
So the factory where the women are building them
Right.
are?
Yes.
Oh.
And
I think it's in the 4100 block of Polk. It is in the Will Group is also another company, but they have a facility where they're building the modular homes there. And they've already dropped one of the homes that's through the Cook County because we're trying to get the lots now. So we're looking for that favorable vote so that we can continue, because on the county side, we have a home already that we've placed there. And we're looking to do the additional, 6?
we have the 5.
Five,
and then
okay, 5 lots.
I'll be back.
Right,
for
and we'll be back for more, right, but, so this is a great start, for what we're doing in the 24th Ward, and I have a great team of all women with IFF that are doing this project, so I'm excited.
Thank you. And then I just a follow up to that then, did I understand these are, for residential homes for sale, or is it to rent?
Correct, for sale.
For sale.
Mhm.
Okay, so not for renters.
No. And the homeowners are required to be in the house for a minimum of 5 years.
5 or 10? I thought I heard you say
10
5.
years if they get the BANA assistance, 5 years just under the City Lots for Working Families program.
Got it. Thank you.
And I might add again, because maybe I'm going over, but they also get a subsidy, correct, through United Power. So these are also, so this is also with United Power as well. So the people that can't typically afford to live in these homes, United Power offers a subsidy so that we can make it affordable. Because while the housing market is growing in the 24th Ward, and the house could be a $300,000 house, but the subsidy that they're getting from United Power could be anywhere up to a $100,000 subsidy.
That's great.
No questions? Are there further, Vice Chair Wheat?
Thank you, Madam Chair. A question for the department. Can you remind us how the ceiling is set for the maximum sale price for the property?
Sure. So the maximum sales price for the ones that are of the 75% is 120% AMI. So currently, because we set it at the time of sale, so it'll be 2025 when we do that. But for 2023, for a 3-bedroom home, it's approximately $390,000.
Thank you. No other questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair Wheat. Are there other questions from members of the commission? If there are no further questions, I would now like to invite members of the public who are in attendance and interested to speak on this item. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak? If there are no further questions or comments regarding the matter before us, I will call this item to a vote. The resolution before us, the Department of Housing is seeking authority to advertise its intention to enter into a city lots for working families, land sale and redevelopment agreement with Home and Housing LLC for the disposition of the property located at 3517 West Flournoy Street, 3431 West Flournoy Street, 3433 West Flournoy Street, 3303 West Flournoy Street, and 3553 West Lexington Street in the Midwest TIF to request alternative proposals and to approve the sale of the property to Home and Housing LLC if no responsive alternative proposals are received. If there are no objections, I move passage of this item by the same roll call vote previously used to establish quorum. Are there any objections or abstentions on this item? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, for the next item of business, the Department of Planning and Development is seeking authority to advertise its intention to enter into a negotiated sale with JD Housing LLC for the disposition of the property located at 4741 South Indiana Avenue in the 47th and King Drive Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project area, to request alternative proposals and to approve the sale of the property to JD Housing LLC if no responsive alternative proposals are received. London Walther will provide a brief description on behalf of the Department of Planning and Development.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman Butler and members of the commission. For the record, my name is London Walther with the Department of Planning and Development. As mentioned, today I bring forward a proposal for a land disposition at 4741 South Indiana Avenue. Joining me today is David Fleischman and John Cummings Jr., owners of JD Housing LLC. Next slide. As previously mentioned, the address of the parcel for disposition is 4741 South Indiana Avenue. Total square footage of the lot is 2,736 square feet. The parcel is located in the 3rd Ward, served by Alderman Pat Dowell in the Grand Boulevard community area. JD Housing LLC is the applicant and is requesting the disposition of a single city lot in order to develop a total of 3 parcels to build 2 3-story residential buildings. The project is not seeking city financial assistance, and this is a market rate sale for the appraised value of $59,200. I bring this market rate sale before you today because the parcel is located in the 47th and King Drive TIF district and therefore requires commission approval. Next slide. The applicant is JD Housing LLC and is a development entity formed by David Fleischman and John Cummins Jr. The development team is working with Charles Schwartz and his firm SKI Architecture as the designer of the proposal. JD Housing LLC has selected Crown Construction Company as their general contractor. JD Housing LLC has completed a number of projects in the Chicago area, including the South Side communities as seen on the screen. Next slide. The project again is located just south of 47th Street and Indiana Avenue, less than 2 blocks from the 47th Street Green Line station. Other nearby main roads include Sage Street to the west and King Drive to the east. Next slide. In this area, you can see the immediate adjacency to other residential housing on the block. Next slide. The city pin is currently zoned as RM-5 and will remain as such. You can see the single city lot owned is in between 2 other lots that are being proposed to be developed as a part of this project. The applicant already has site control of the lots to the immediate north and south of the city-owned lot in question. Next slide. Here's a street view of the block looking north. The left image is the west side of the block, and the right image is looking on the east side of the block. Next slide. Here is a close-up of the currently vacant city lot. You can see it's outlined in red. Next slide. Here are the building elevations. Each building is 3 stories with a height of about 37 feet. The facade of the buildings are made of brick. The architect has worked with our department on refining the design so that the parapet now wraps around the corner to complete the facade. Next slide. Here's the site plan. You can see how the buildings will fit into the 3 parcels. The parcel outlined in red is the city-owned lot. Additionally, the on-site parking is located off the alley. There's also a trash enclosure located next to the parking areas, and the backyard is left as open space. Next slide. Here are the floor plans. Each unit has 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms with a back patio accompanying each unit. There are 3 units per building, and these will be rental units and will be priced at market rate. Next slide. Here are the applicant's sources and uses. The total project cost is a little over 1.5 million. 18% of the project will be financed by the applicant's own equity, the remainder by secured bank loans. Next slide. The Department of Planning and Development has reviewed the proposed project, its public benefits, and its conformance to the redevelopment plan and the development team's qualifications. The project will meet the following goals for the department. It will bring new investment in a historically divested community. It will develop a vacant city-owned parcel and return it to the tax roll. It will create approximately 20 to 25 temporary construction jobs. It brings new development near a historically vibrant commercial corridor served by the 47th Street bus and within 2 blocks of the 47th Street Green Line station. It will provide new housing options for the Ground Boulevard community area. Alderman Pat Dowell has provided a letter of support for the project. DPD requests your approval of a market rate land sale with JD Housing LLC. The development team and city staff are here to answer any questions.
Thank you, London. If Alderwoman Dowell is in attendance, and I don't believe she is, but if she is, I would like to recognize her and invite her to make a statement on the project. No written statements from the public were submitted on this matter. We can now move to questions. Commissioners, London Walther is here with David Fleischman from JD Housing to help answer any questions that you may have on this project. Commissioners, do you have any questions? If there are no further questions, I would now like to invite members of the public who are in attendance and interested to speak on this item. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Are there any members of the public that would like to make a statement? If there are no further questions or comments regarding the matter before us, I will call this item to a vote. The resolution before us, the Department of Planning and Development is seeking authority to advertise its intention to enter into a negotiated sale with JD Housing LLC for the disposition of the property located at 4741 South Indiana Avenue in the 47th and King Drive Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project Area, to request alternative proposals and to approve the sale of the property to JD Housing LLC if no responsive alternative proposals are received. If there are no objections, I move passage of this item by the same roll call vote previously used to establish quorum. Are there any objections or abstentions from members of the commission? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you.
Commissioners, for the next item of business, the Department of Planning and Development is seeking authority to enter into a land sale with Kildare Block Club Association for the disposition of the property located at 1256 South Kildare Avenue in the Ogden-Pulaski Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project Area, and to approve the sale of the property to Kildare Block Club Association. Meg Gustafson will provide, I'm so sorry, Meg, I always screw up your name, will provide a brief description of this on behalf of the Department of Planning and Development.
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Meg Gustafson, Department of Planning and Development. I have 3 items here today. My first one is in the 24th Ward, and we have aldermanic support. This is the first of our Shy Block Builder land sales for open space. Shy Block Builder opened last November, and we sold, it's our new city land sales platform. We listed about 2,000 lots for sale, and our period was open from November 2022 to February 2023. And we're working through all the applications now. The open space ones were listed if the applicant was eligible and provided a good plan. They're eligible for 10% of value. We had CBRE do the valuations for over 2,000 properties. And those were the numbers we used. So these are the first 3 open space ones to go before CDC, because these are located in a TIF. So the first one, 1256 South Kildare. This is a block club that's been active on the site for a while. It's a 4,000 square foot pin. The 10% of value would be a $1,858 sale. This site is zoned RT4. We acquired it, the city acquired it in 1982, and no TIF funds were used for the acquisition. Next slide, please. This is the redevelopment area map. The next one is the location map. And then next I have the zoning map. And last I have a picture of the site and their proposed budget. And then there's a photo of the group involved. They're proposing about a $5,000 budget to, it's already fenced. They want to do garden boxes and benches and continue to operate on the site. Thank you.
Thank you, Meg. I would again like to recognize Alderwoman Scott and invite her to make a statement on the project.
So I won't do many of these because I'm not a fan of the adjacent lot program, but this one was fenced, so we don't have to worry about it being open and a sore eye for dumping. And so I approved it because they do have a replicable block club, and it's no gathering space in that area like parks or anything. So it was just add as a gathering space for the people on the block and in the community. So it was my approval. So it was something that I would recommend only because of the lack of no gardens. There are not many gardens in that K-Town area. And they have like I said, they have a huge support for their block club, but you won't see many of these for me.
Thank you, Alderwoman Scott. We appreciate you staying here with us to express your views on the project and your support. No written statements from the public were submitted on this matter. We can now move to questions. Commissioners, do you have any questions about this project? Yes, Commissioner Gomez.
I think I share a little bit of the concerns that the alderman shared. Who's going to be responsible for ensuring the maintenance and the cleanup? And is there a rendering of a proposed, like how it will look?
We did not require renderings. We did ask for a site plan, and theirs was a hand-drawn site plan, so I didn't really include it. But they have to fill out an EDS. The Kildare Block Club Association is a nonprofit. They have provided me with their articles of incorporation and their good standing certificate. So there's still city council is the next step. And then the whole closing process. So if they decide they can't actually, there's still more steps for them, but they have articles of incorporation and the block club will be the owner. So they'll be responsible for the taxes and maintenance. It will become their property. Yeah.
And
Oh,
yes.
sure.
And one thing I can add is that this block is intentional about, so I have a campaign, a litter-free Lawndale, and they do come around and clean up around my office, around, not inside my office, but around the community. They work heavily with My Block, My Hood, is that the name?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they work heavily with them, and they've actually helped me with, I have, like, in the beginning of the summer, I did a block club meeting where they added and assisted people on how to have a block club, how you can get funding for your block club. So they're they're much of a great resource. And that block is intentional about keeping their block clean.
Yeah, thank you for that. That adds a lot of color. I think for me, it was a question of there is going to be costs associated to the cleanup and the maintenance, and if there was going to be grass and with the snow and stuff. So I think, if they're able to share out with you later, just how they're going to, are they, they're generating dollars and what their budget looks like to be able to maintain the property, again, to the point we don't want it to become a sore eye later in the future where they're dumping litter, but just to ensure that there's that level of care, which I hear that there would be, but it's just good to check for the financials too. Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Davis.
Just one question. Who currently maintains the property?
Well, it's currently city-owned, and
So
this
the
group is
city-
doing it.
Okay,
No,
this group
they're-
is doing
He
it.
does it.
Oh, Kenneth Davis.
Kenneth
Ken-
Davis
Kenneth.
does it.
But he
Okay,
wants to acquire it with the block, with the.
understood. So I guess that was my question. So the folks who want to acquire it are already taking care of it.
Yeah, that photo, I think, looks very
Okay.
good to me. That
Yeah.
looks like a good.
Yeah. That's helpful. I think that's worth noting.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Any additional questions or comments? Any additional questions or comments from members of the commission? Thank you. No written statements from the public were submitted on this matter. And I would now like to invite members of the public who are in attendance and interested to speak on this item. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Are there any members of the public who would like to make a statement? There are no further questions or comments regarding the matter before us. I will now call this item to a vote. The resolution before us, the Department of Planning and Development is seeking authority to enter into a land sale with Kildare Block Club Association for the disposition of the property located at 1256 South Kildare Avenue in the Ogden-Pulaski Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project area, and to approve the sale of the property to Kildare Block Club Association. If there are no objections, I move passage of this item by the same roll call vote previously used to establish quorum. Are there any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you.
Commissioners, for the next item of business, the Department of Planning and Development is seeking authority to enter into a land sale with SCMASC NFP for the disposition of the property located at 3109 East 92nd Street in the commercial Avenue Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project Area and to approve the sale of the property to SCMASC. Meg Gustafson will provide a brief description of this on behalf of the Department of Planning and Development.
Thank you. Again, Meg Gustafson, Department of Planning and Development. This is our second Shy Block Builder land sale for open space, 3109 East 92nd Street. The acronym stands for South Chicago Mexican American Social Club. The lot occurs 5,398 square feet, located in the 10th Ward. We have Alderman Chico's support. This is in the Commercial Avenue TIF redevelopment area, and 10% of value is $2,159. Next slide, please. This is zoned C12. It was acquired by tax deed from Cook County in 2002. TIF funds were not used for this acquisition. It's currently vacant. We can scroll through the maps real quick. This is I think my little star is outside the, anyway, I think this is in the TIF now that I'm looking at I believe it's in the TIF. Next slide, please. This is the location map. You can see also that the South Chicago Mexican American Social Club owns the building in blue. So they're a logical buyer. The next map is the zoning map. And then finally, my site photos. This is right off the 93rd Street South Chicago Metro stop. As you can see, the fence there, the site has been paved and fenced. The cars that are adjacent to the mural, that is not city-owned. And the South Chicago Mexican American Social Club is currently in talks in negotiations to buy that from a private owner. The bottom picture is the building that they currently own and operate out of. The next slide is just a basic site plan showing the vacant lot. This group has worked with the SSA for years. They plan on putting some landscaping around the perimeter, but they want to keep it mostly open as a plaza for holiday parties, benefits, and other social events on this lot. And I actually have someone here from the group to speak if there's any questions, Daniel Vasquez. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Meg. If he is in attendance, I would like to recognize Alderman Chico and invite him to make a statement on the project. No written statements from the public were submitted on this matter. We can now move to questions. Commissioners, Meg is here with Daniel Velasquez from SCMASC to help answer any questions that you may have on this project. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Vice Chair Wheat.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If you could go back to maybe the pictures of the property, can you help us understand what the organization owns? What lot does the organization own today versus this actual city-owned lot proper? And is there something in between that's not owned by either?
Correct. They only own the building on the bottom right, which is also the building on the top left with the mural. The site in between where those cars are parked is owned by, I'm forgetting his name, a private owner. And then the one that's adjacent to the tracks is city-owned.
So it appears that that area is currently fenced.
Correct.
So what happens to the fence?
I believe the group will be leaving the fence
Okay.
and maintaining it, and probably putting in a new gate. But we're not totally sure who fenced and paved this years ago. And there was an illegal towing company running it for a while. 311's been called many times. Alderman Garza was trying to get them off for years. Alderman Chico's in support of this plan because of the site control of the building already and the negotiations that are currently underway with the South Chicago Mexican American Social Club.
So I guess, I mean, it goes from the city's problem to their problem. But yeah, a understanding of how that will be negotiated and managed would be ideal.
How, what would we manage? Once the land sale happens and the,
Right.
Or-
So before we vote on this, then I'm concerned that a city-owned lot, that someone just put up a fence around a city-owned lot that I assume the city didn't put up.
Mhm.
But I guess it's just your problem now, because now it's fenced and cordoned off an area that you want access to, that it doesn't appear, at least by these pictures, that they do have any like area of egress, I guess, around. But maybe I'm looking at the picture wrong.
I'm not sure about the egress. And I think if it's a plaza, there should not be any cars on it and it will be fenced off. If there's any structure or parking lot going in, they would have to come to the city for permits. And that is not the plan we're approving today. This is to be a plaza. Those are things to consider, but there would need to be a permit for any kind of parking lot, even though someone did build this without one.
Understood. No further questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Commissioner Gomez?
The lines of just understanding, knowing that it's going to be a plaza, so no structural buildings going on there. I have more of from a safety concern of just, it's literally right up against the train. And so is the fence planned to be removed? Is the city responsible for removing it? And then how to ensure safety? I mean, I know it's no longer going to be the cities, but there appears to be a real safety concern. Are they going to have to work with Metra? I think that's a Metra. Or if there's going to be gatherings, large gatherings and people passing by, I view it from a safety perspective. Is there a safety plan or?
I can defer to Daniel, but I would say that right now the fence is on city-owned land and it's going to stay, but I'll let Daniel.
Good afternoon. This is Daniel Velasquez. Our plan is to remove the current fence that's there along the Metro and put up a new fence, which would be about a 6-foot fence, and that would prevent anybody from walking or climbing over into the Metro tracks.
Do you need to seek approval? It's going to be on the property that's currently the city, right? Not Metro.
It would be on the city property currently right now.
Good question. Yeah, sorry, I forgot you were going to remove that fence and put up a different fence. But it will not, I mean, I don't know it will be on their property if we transfer it to you.
Correct.
So I don't know what the protocol is with Metra, but I can find out.
Yeah, I'm just, again,
Yeah,
it's so
safety.
close to it that if they have to be on this side of the fence to install it or to do anything to it, then you're now on a different property
Right.
line.
Oh, right, they might need access to install it at the very least. Okay, thank you.
Are there additional questions or comments from the members of the commission? If there are no further questions, I would now like to invite members of the public who are in attendance and interested to speak on this item. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Are there any members of the public that would care to speak? If there are no further questions or comments regarding the matter before us, I will call this item to a vote. The resolution before us, the Department of Planning and Development is seeking authority to enter into a land sale with SCMASC NFP for the disposition of the property located at 3109 East 92nd Street in the Commercial Avenue Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project area, and to approve the sale of the property to SCMASC. If there are no objections, I move passage of this item by the same roll call vote previously used to establish quorum. Are there any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Commissioners, for the final item of this meeting's agenda, the Department of Planning and Development is seeking authority to enter into a land sale with Grow Greater Inglewood, Inc. for the disposition of the property located at 7027 and 7029 South Princeton in the 67th Wentworth Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project Area, and to approve the sale of the property to Grow Greater Inglewood, Inc. Meg Gustafson will provide a brief description on behalf of the Department of Planning and Development.
Hi again, for the record, Meg Gustafson, Department of Planning. We have another garden here before you. This is in Alderman Hall's ward, and we have his approval. This is 7029 South Princeton. Some of you may be familiar with Grow Greater Inglewood. The Department of Planning works with them a lot. We're working on the Inglewood line and various other gardens and urban agriculture sites. But this one is 2 pins located in Greater Grand Crossing, 67th and Wentworth TIF. 10% of the value of each pin would be $2,113 each. Next slide, please. They're the same square feet. They were both acquired in 1998, and no TIF was used at that time. They're zoned RT4. You can see where it's located in the redevelopment area map, and then our location map, and then the zoning map. There's actually a garden operating there now, so we'd like to formalize this. Grow Greater Inglewood has been tending to this land for, I think, a few years. I don't have the year in front of me. Next slide, please. This is the mission of Grow Greater Inglewood, if you aren't familiar. They were established in 2017 and work to empower residents to community health is wealth is a great, I like that slogan that they have. Next slide, please. This is their site plan. I don't think all of this exists right now. This is what this $19,000 would fund on top of what's already there. So new fencing, trees, shrubs, the acquisition costs are in there, and then new raised beds. So their budget is $19,476. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Meg. If he is in attendance, I would like to recognize Alderman Hall and invite him to make a statement on the project. No written statements from the public were submitted on this matter. We can now move to questions. Commissioners, do you have any questions about this project? If there are no further questions, I would now like to invite members of the public who are in attendance and interested to speak on this item. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Are there any members of the public who would care to comment on this item? If there are no further questions or comments regarding the matter before us, I will call this item to a vote. The resolution before us, the Department of Planning and Development is seeking authority to enter into a land sale with Grow Greater Inglewood, Inc. for the disposition of the property located at 7027 and 7029 South Princeton in the 67th Wentworth Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project Area, and to approve the sale of the property to Grow Greater Inglewood, Inc. If there are no objections, I move passage of this item by the same roll call vote previously used to establish quorum. Are there any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Commissioners, that was our last item on today's agenda. If there are no further questions or comments, I move to adjourn the November meeting of the Community Development Commission by the same roll call vote previously used to establish quorum. Hearing none, we are adjourned.